You're awesome.
All right,
Okay,
we're good.
we are good.
Okay, I'll call this meeting of the library board to order.
All right, Chair Marie Hotta,
Here.
Vice Chair Andy Sakaris,
Here.
Maggie Burns,
Here.
Scott Gilbert,
Here.
Edie Hughes,
Here.
Gina Oberding,
Present.
Dina Phelps,
Here.
Chris Ray,
Here.
Amy Wilson, and currently City Council Liaison Chelsea Nunacamp and Inglewood School Liaison Devon Williams are not present. Oh, and City Council Member Nunacamp just arrived. Staff, we have Director Christina Underhill, Library and Cultural Arts Manager Bethany Lafferty, and Library Associate Lee Bertman. And do I have everybody? Okay.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll think.
All those in favor of approving the minutes? Any opposed? Okay. Is there any public comment?
No.
Okay, we can move on to the report.
Well, I was looking at what I was gonna highlight and I discovered there was some significant discrepancy. Because in the children's programs, last year to date, I don't think Kimberly did 2,783 programs in 2022. So I did discover that there is a formula error in the spreadsheet, and it applied to November and December's reports. So I'm fixing those and then Debbie will get those updated. So those are not the correct numbers. But so far I've been working on correcting them. So in 2022, there was 407 in-house children's programs and then 394 for 2023. So much closer number of programs comparatively.
So you said 407?
Yeah, and so I don't know if I've gotten through the attendance ones yet, but so those all have to be corrected. For the year, it's just the last year to date column. The year to date for like 2023 was correct. But it was when I was looking to make a comparison that I thought that something did not look right. So I think the adult programs might be right, but yeah, the children's ones were not. But you know, good number of total programs and good attendance. I mean, even with the error, we had way more attendance this year than we did previous year at children's programs, so that's good. Does anybody have any questions or anything?
Yeah, I was looking at the usage overview. There's quite a, drop down to patrons registered. 8,685 in December of 23. And December of 22, they were 22,000.
Yeah, because at the beginning of 2023, we started to clean up the
Yeah.
patron accounts and delete a lot of the long expired accounts. So I think for a period of time there was some, I mean, that was how many accounts were on the books, but they were expired, they weren't being used.
Okay.
So that's what we did at the beginning of 2023 is clean up those accounts. That's why those total patrons registered and the Englewood patrons registered are so much lower because we deleted a lot of accounts that were long expired. We also encountered that people could register online for a temporary card that would expire in 3 months. And when it expired, you could go back in, the same person could register for another one. But the first one still stayed in the records. So when we were doing this cleanup, we also found many individual people with like anywhere from 5 to 10 different accounts because they kept creating a new one every 3 months.
Gotcha.
So we have resolved that problem and created a more streamlined registration process that doesn't create those duplications.
What about look at the discrepancy in physical visitors?
So again, that one is the previous way it was recorded was the gross number of in and outs. So what that represented was how many people walked through the door in and then back out again. So to get a true representation of the number of actual people, I've started to divide that monthly total in half, because then that's one person, because one person comes in the door and goes back out the door. And so then that was counting in the gross total as 2, which made it look like 2 people came in for every 1.
And
So that's why that one was different. And that changed I started doing the new calculation in January of 2023. So all of the 2023 numbers are consistent. And as we go forward in this year, so next month we'll have a statistical report where the last year will be January 2023, and then January 2024 will be calculated in the same way, and the comparison will be more even.
do you think that there are fewer physical visitors? Like
Yes.
even if you did take.
Yeah, because if you divide 9,300 in half, that's still
Yeah.
like 4,600 people. So
Right.
that's still more than we had in December of 23. So yes, there is a decline. Either way.
I had a question about revenue. And I might have missed this at the November meeting, and I don't know if this is where to ask that, but I was really surprised about the no fees. No late fines. Has that been brought to the board, first of all, and second of all, will that impact the revenues deposited in the city?
I don't remember it ever getting brought to the board.
Yeah, it was not brought to the board.
So we were talking about that today, and we had a lot going on this last
Yeah.
year. We had discussed it with the board probably 2 years ago, and the fact that we're moving in that direction.
Yeah.
But it is part of our budget process. It's not a policy, it's part of our budget. So it was a revenue decision to make with Beth and the team bringing in book sales and other ways to bring in revenue. I mean, we were one of the last libraries in the state to have fines.
I'm in favor of it, I
Yeah.
just was curious.
Yeah, I don't.
Remember a conversation about it.
We didn't either, but I'm like, no, I know we had talked about it, but it was probably 2 years ago when we brought it to the board. And if I remember right, at that time, there really wasn't any opposition. But I don't think we brought it to you guys last year, but we did do it part of the budget process, being that the general fund would actually take the hit, because all fines come into the general fund, and it was like, what do you say, $3,800 probably average. And that's about what we brought in the library, at the book sale.
Okay.
Would have been nice to know. It was a surprise when I woke up on Saturday morning and saw it on Facebook. It's like, oh, okay, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm in sort of it, I mean, it's done, but I don't want that to be a barrier for anyone. I mean, like, this is funny. The mayor, I'm calling him out and telling him this too. He was like, I can't go back to the library, I have a $5 fine or something. He's like, I can't check out any books. I'm like, I think they'll let you in. You can tell him I said this. But I was like, okay, I'll pay the fine, go in and check out books, like, but I wouldn't, in general, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want that ever to
No.
deter someone from coming to the library. So I think it's smart, and yeah, good for us for figuring out, you guys for figuring out other ways to bring in some revenue.
Yeah.
So,
But will
Yeah.
that impact the revenues deposited? Like, I've never really
Yeah.
understood how that.
So what's interesting is, this was a city.
Yeah, the bottom is.
Yeah, the city was getting that type of, the fines came back to them, but like a lost book. Those go back into our donors fund, so the library can purchase another book that had been lost. So ultimately, it was the city's saying, okay, we're okay not getting $3,800 from the library. Knowing just like the mayor, others maybe had that same hesitation, and
I
we
forgot
don't,
it's being recorded.
it is.
Yeah. He's not a bad person, he's a good person. Just pay his $4 fine or.
That's an excellent example. I had a fine in my college and I wasn't gonna get my diploma till I paid it. They no longer have fines in college. So I'm like,
Yeah.
"Man, it's a little ahead of my time."
Got
I think the total revenue, I think it's only about $4,000.
That's what.
That's correct. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
about 3,800.
There was only lost talk, I missed it.
Yeah, it's about 38. So it's pretty insignificant to the full
Okay,
general fund revenue.
sorry, missed that.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was being brought up later, but. See it on it. Any other statistical things?
Just one quick question. What constitutes a meeting room session? 'Cause I noticed they were way down last year, over the year before. It's up near the top under those like four pink lines. 446 to 866. I'm just curious why
The meeting rooms
Yeah.
are bookings in this room or parent by the public, and it actually probably counts the stuff the staff do in here, because we reserve the meeting rooms ourselves, so.
also like yearly.
Well, I mean, the year-to-date total will be a lot less, because we were closed for January,
that's
most of January, all of February, and part of March, so. We had a good 12 weeks where no usage was incurred, so.
Then move on to the action plan.
There were no updates to the 2023.
All right, perfect. Carry on. We have $3,000 back in our budget at the start of the year. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I realized that maybe we should have put
I talked
these thing in there.
to Debbie about that too.
Okay,
Lee said she was good with staying.
okay.
We can switch things around if
Yeah.
we need to.
Okay, then we can move on to old business.
Debbie, I think it's gonna, you have it, it's in the packet, but if you don't have a packet, Debbie's gonna put the packet on the screen so you can look. Hopefully you have plenty of time to read it in advance.
Yes,
Let's
thank you
do
so much
this.
for getting that out.
So. Oh, wait, well, let's show this. Are you able to minimize that?
that's great.
There you go.
You can see it, yeah, I looked at it prior to. Yeah.
That work like that?
So this is just kind of like an overview of kind of some longer term things that the library wants to do. If you want to go to the next one, Debbie.
Okay. No, you're good. Okay,
So for 2024, and we'll kind of get into it a little bit more detailed for the 2024 action plans. This is just kind of an overview for this coming year. Creating a 3-year strategic plan specifically for the library, increasing our annual usage, which would include library visits, materials checkout, computer sessions, probably even like meeting and study room usage, create lasting training and operational manuals for employees, reduce our employee turnover, and develop specific focus for each of the library teams. So that's circulation / patron experience, adult services, food services, and technical services. And then as we go into 2025, implement the strategic plan that would be created during this year, double the number of resident card holders, because as we noted, they declined quite a bit because we had a lot of people just not using their cards anymore because they were expired. Expand the library of things, establish new partnerships, and hopefully add 2 full-time librarian positions. And that will be something that will be sought through the 2025 budget planning process. So just to show a comparison across libraries for total visits and total checkouts, on the right-hand side, or I'm sorry, the left-hand side, you'll see library visits per capita comparison. So this compares Englewood Public Library with the Littleton Bemis Public Library and the Louisville Public Library. We have comparable sized libraries and populations that we serve. And you can see in 2018 and 2019, we were very close in the number of visits that we had. And of course, COVID tanks everybody in 2020 and 2021. And you'll see that in 2022, the recovery is not quite back to pre-COVID times for any of the 3 libraries shown, but we are comparable to these other libraries in terms of our per capita visitors. But when you look at the checkouts per capita comparison, Englewood Public Library is pretty low all across the years. Even going to pre-COVID times, we were about almost half of the number of checkouts per person as the other libraries. And after COVID, or during COVID, everybody kind of decreases a little bit. But in 2022, the other two libraries have rebounded pretty significantly. And we still have stayed just about the same as 2018. So we can see we have people coming to our library in comparable numbers, but we don't have those people checking out materials in comparable numbers. So it's like we have people here, they're not using our resources. I only was able to compare the checkout data because I couldn't see computer usage or other like meeting room usage for the comparable libraries. So I just was trying to like pick one thing that I can show, like we have people coming, but they're not checking out materials.
Physical
Yes,
materials, not online.
yeah, and I'm gonna mention that's one of the difference between digital and physical. So, this is just looking at Englewood Public Library. So our public library visitors has declined 62% since 2018. I will point out that the numbers I used here, like Edie asked about how the difference was, I used the gross numbers in here so that across the years, we were looking at same calculation. Does that make sense? So in these two, graphs have our complete 2023 numbers. So the annual visitors that we had prior to COVID, really high, obviously COVID tanks, so that's understandable. And then in 2022, we had 119,000, which technically that's probably like 60,000. And then for 2023 was 82. So it's still pretty low from kind of the height of 2018, 2019. And then our materials checkout. So here, this is physical and digital. Overall, our materials checkout has decreased 43% since 2018. Physical checkouts alone has decreased 57%, and digital checkouts have actually increased 7.75%. So there's it's pretty steady. That was one of the graphs in the last meeting, was that digital checkouts have been pretty steady over the years with minimal increase, but it's been a pretty significant, physical checkout decrease. And that's something we have a really great collection that we would like to have more people using. Currently, the day-to-day kind of services that are provided by staff. This is just kind of a breakdown by the four teams. Adult services conducts research and directs patrons to resources they're looking for. They help people with questions regarding computers or email. They assist people with the printer and copier. They provide supplies to patrons. So that's anything from food, clothing items, headphones. The circulation patron experience team processes the materials. So that's checking in and out items, processing hold requests. They assist patrons with questions regarding their accounts, setting up new accounts, renewing things, collecting payments. They retrieve materials from the outside book drop, maintain the materials displays, and shelving materials, so putting things back on the shelves. The children's team focuses on program planning, promotion, and presentation, and they assist children and families to find books and resources to meet their needs. And they do some collection maintenance with the youth and teen collections. The technical services team focuses on ordering and receiving new materials, cataloging, and then collection maintenance. So that's, looking through things that are worn out and grubby or just not being checked out. And so weeding and deselecting things from the collection that aren't being used, and manage the invoices for the physical and digital collections. In addition to being part of those individual teams, the 4 supervisors also work on staff scheduling. They do the service desk schedules. They participate in one-on-one meetings with the direct reports. I believe Corinne has 8 direct reports and Carrie has 6. So that's a lot of people to meet with every month. So that's a lot of their time. They respond to patron situations, enforce the standards of behavior, provide coverage of service desks, and do the services of their respective teams. This is just kind of an overview of some of the things I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, attending various department and city meetings, overseeing budget and manage invoices and purchasing card approvals, update contracts for library vendors, oversee facility maintenance requests, compile monthly reports for this meeting, quarterly reports for the city strategic plan, and then I have 4 direct reports, so I do one-on-one meetings with each of them every month. And then also respond to patron situations, enforce the standards of behavior, and provide coverage. Some of the things we'd like to be able to do for adult services includes establishing partnerships with the Englewood Rec Center and Malin Senior Center, Beyond Homebound. And again, these are the things that we're going to kind of highlight in the action plan. But a lot of it, we want to have more fleshed out for a longer term plan for the strategic. That's why we want to do the strategic plan. Outreach programming for a wide variety of patron interests and information needs, establishing partnerships. Circulation wants to create the comprehensive circulation training and operations manual, expand the library of things. We're really trying to move away from calling it the non-traditional collection library of things. It's a little nicer. So that's why you'll start seeing like a transition to that terminology, library of things. Community outreach to increase library card holders and oral usage. Children's would like to provide support to the homeschool community, increase outreach to schools and other youth agencies, provide programs to older teens and new adults, establish partnerships with early childhood agencies, expand the non-traditional collection options for youth. The technical services stuff, this is a little bit more kind of behind the scenes, some of the updating that they'd like to do with their technology, provide some professional development to the collection development librarian, and create a comprehensive plan for evaluating and deselecting materials in the collection. Then the supervisors and myself kind of together, we want to work on the 3-year strategic plan, create a comprehensive training and operations manual, preserved knowledge of library and city procedures. Over the last couple of years, it's become apparent there's a lot of things that are not written down that are not easily passed on. If somebody changes positions or somebody leaves, you have to kind of start from scratch. And so we want to create something that can be lasting and not have that situation happen in the future. Establish partnerships with local agency for social work services, secure alternate funding through grants, book sales, and donations, and collaborate with community members. So this is just kind of like scratching the surface of what we would like to do. And so that's why we really want to create support for pursuing a formal strategic plan. The next steps that we have are to put together a request for proposals for costs and timelines of work for professionals to coordinate like a strategic plan, community assessment, things like that. What that would look like, and then present that to city council in a study session if needed. My understanding is it kind of depends on the cost from the proposals if we'll need to present in a study session. That's why we're gonna seek some proposals for how, like what the time frame would be and how much it would cost. And then, then decide to go from there, what our timeline will be for selecting a consultant and beginning the project. That's just kind of, if you have any questions or comments, I don't know that we necessarily need any library board action on this. It's just to give you an overview of what the library would like to pursue in terms of having basically like a master plan for guiding it in the future.
What's exciting about the strategic plan, it's going to answer so many questions that we've all had.
Yeah.
It's me a massive outreach to the community, all levels, focus groups, different things. So you'll all be involved. So we'll keep you updated on the process.
Is this a strategic plan just for the library?
Correct. Yep.
The whole city?
Nope, just the library. The city does have a pretty extensive strategic plan already. The library's never really had one past our action plan. And so this is really gonna help drive staffing levels, hours of operation, what we offer as a library, outreach that we do. It's all the things we just assume, we just don't know for sure. So this will help us move into the future.
Are there consultancies that specialize in libraries?
There's a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Libraries?
Yeah, you go anywhere from agencies to individuals who've been in the library world for 50 years and retired that have all the knowledge that you may need. So we'll see once we put the proposals out. We'll keep you updated on what we get back and kind of the comps.
What's your budget? I'm just curious.
We're hoping to be under 70,000. But these types of plans can range anywhere from 5,000 to 150,000, even maybe even more. So it kind of depends. Tim Dodds, who is our deputy city manager, is very knowledgeable in strategic planning. And he said, you might get a library director that's recently retired and going into consulting that wants to get kind of their feet wet in the strategic planning world. And they might do it for really cheap because they want that recognition. Or you'll go with an agency that's doing national strategic plans. So we'll find out. We'll keep you updated.
One quick question or comment, when we do this, just as, and thank you for this presentation, that's great. Just, can we just make sure we include any information that you'll need to make the decisions if the library ever moves, like to help sort of.
That would be part of,
Yeah.
we are gonna dissect this place, because we have never done that. The history of this library, I don't think there's been a strategic plan. And knowing that the city center may disappear in the near future, we need to know what this library is gonna look like. It might be shrunk down, but we'll have satellites, Malley Center, the rec center, we don't know. So those are all those questions that we have as staff that we really want answered so we can prepare, because right now it's kind of like halfway in the door, halfway out, not really sure where we're gonna stand in a few years. So this will help us.
To be clear, at this point, it's a pause on like the conversations that happened in November and December about
Yeah.
like changing hours and.
No, we were not gonna touch, we're gonna let the strategic plan do the work for us on that end. This was the assumption, asking for like a closure was so we could work as staff on the strategic plan and not worry about operation hours and stuff. But that might be something we bring back. We need to talk to these consultants and
Right.
see what they recommend. They may be able to work it in, and Beth will have another proposal for you that's not closing everything, so.
Well, and I guess I want to challenge us as a board to be thinking about how we can help support this work at a strategy level, because I think that's part of our role is to be up here and let the staff do what they do best at that level. And I'm not saying that not saying there's a hierarchy, but I mean, for us to strategically support this work so that we can do that, I mean, and let them do what they're good at. So I guess I would like to let you guys know that are doing this strategic planning and stuff, let us know how we can support you in this, because I think then that helps us help you help the city,
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate that.
know?
Yeah.
So.
Thank you for all of the thoughtfulness and blood, sweat, tears that has gone into all of these decisions.
It's a lot of extra.
I know it's been hard.
Thank you.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
Boring thing.
For you.
Oh, it's fine.
All right. So we move along to new business.
Sure.
Lee? Yeah, would you like to? Yeah.
So hopefully my presentation will load, and if not, I have physical
Oh,
handouts.
there it is.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I'll hand them out anyway, so if anybody wants to take them home with you and peruse them while you're in the restroom, I know we all think. So again, my name is Lee Bertman. I'm a library associate here. And I'm here to talk to you today about going from good to great. In our 2024 Inglewood Author Festival. So let's let this adventure begin. So what does this look like? Our 2024 Inglewood Author Festival, you just gotta keep clicking. I did all these transitions when I make it seem fancy, and now it's like all out the window.
There we go.
So what is it? It's an annual local author fair to kick off summer reading. And this is one other way that we can help increase numbers. It's another way that we can kind of tap into programming that we've done in the past that we want to bring back. after everybody kind of fell away during COVID. Let's bring them back in. And then why do we want to do it? We obviously want to do it because we want to reinvigorate the library and try to encourage people who may have gone away or maybe new people who moved into the area to come to our library. Who's going to be coming? So we are going to, right now, I'm sending out invitations to 60 plus authors, and we're hoping to cap it at 25 authors. And obviously it's our Inglewood community that's going to be coming to this event. And when is it going to be? So our initial date is June 8th, Saturday from 10 until 3. We do have an alternate date on the 15th, just in case. It looks like we're having kind of a low response from authors who can't come on that day, but they can come on the 15th. So we're giving them some options. And then where, obviously here. And I do have a map if anybody wants to look at it, because I've actually like marked out where tables will go and everything, just to see how it's going to look. And then lastly, how are we going to do this? So we need to help build those relationships with businesses, nonprofits, community organizations, Inglewood schools, all of those things with and residents within our area to help bring them back into the library. So what's it going to look like the day of? So like I said, from 10 to 3, that's a big chunk of time. But I think we can break it down into more manageable chunks so that everybody can do something fun and exciting. From 10 to 2, we'll have author tables, like I said, set up throughout the library, where authors will have a chance to sell their books. If they don't want to sell, they can still promote. And that's good in my book. Next, we obviously are going to be promoting our summer reading. We'll have tables in both children's and adult area for people to sign up. And we'll also have raffles. We'll have a morning raffle and we'll have an afternoon raffle. And hopefully we'll even be able to give away some of the author books, whether that have been donated or have been purchased based on our financial ability to do so. Then we're gonna have an author lunch. And so we gotta feed them, we gotta make them happy. But we're also going to be involving our sponsors to invite them to also come. So those are, again, those Inglewood business owners, those nonprofits or organizations who are generous enough to give to our event, that they can come and schmooze with the authors. And then in the afternoon, we're going to have kind of a repeat of those author tables. And then we may have an author panel, depending on how many authors respond. So if we have a large group of nonfiction authors that want to talk about, you know, the history of Inglewood or this history of Colorado or whatever, we could have a panel of that and have it up in the community room or down here in the Anderson room, depending on how that goes. Also 5-minute lightning talks for authors who want to just jazz up a little bit about their books. They can do a quick open talk and we can even get them like a little microphone to do that. And then again, summer reading sign up in another raffle. And of course, we gotta have to give away swag. So how do we make this happen? We have a sponsorship package through the city of Inglewood where potential sponsors can go and sign up based on varying levels. So there's the bronze, silver, gold, and platinum level, and based on how much they decide to sponsor us with, they will get in kind promotions from us. We'll put their logo on stuff that we give out, such as that swag that I mentioned. We're even going to have to get a banner now because the Inglewood Cultural Arts Commission gave us a lot more money than I realized they were going to give us. So now we're going to get a big banner and so on and so forth. So this is in the packet. There's a lot of information here. So if you want to look at it later, you're more than welcome to do so. Our goal is $5,000 to go ahead and kick this off. If there's more, are we going to turn it down? No, they're not going to turn away money. Why do we need $5,000? We need to staff this event and we need volunteers. Obviously, volunteers are free, but you know, it's still something we need. What do we need them to do? We need setup and tear down. We need them to help with the authors if they need a little bit of help setting up, running and getting them water, whatever. And also manning the summer reading tables. We do have volunteers in the library, but we're open to sponsored volunteering, library boards volunteering. Anybody here is welcome. Also, we need that money for advertising, signage, and a really robust media launch. Lunch, beverages, tables, chairs. Some of that we already have, some of it we don't. We don't want a bunch of hangry people running around. Book purchases and donations. So if we're inviting authors here, we need to make sure that we have their books on the shelf. So that would be really embarrassing if we didn't have their books on the shelf. So we'll make sure that we get that happening. And obviously, if any of the authors want to donate a book or sponsors want to say, hey, we want to give you money so you can buy these books to give out as donations, that would be great too. And of course, swag. And then finally, and this is a little bit of a tricky one, author honorariums. Some authors want have a fee to show up, give a talk, whatnot. They can be a little pricey. So we'll see how that goes. Most authors for this kind of big event, they're the thing that they can do for that is basically sell their books. So, but if they're a big enough author, they may actually want an honorarium. And just sort of to give you an idea of where we are right now towards our goal, the Inglewood Cultural Arts Commission, like I said, is giving us $1,500. Pirates Youth Sports, thank you also for the chapstick push. $500 there. Signal Graphics is also giving us $500, and they've also mentioned the opportunity of doing some of our signage, which would be fantastic. And then we also have a private donation of $250, and El Dorado Spring Water is going to give 48 bottles of water. So currently we have $2,750. And so that's it, basically. This is what we're doing for the library to help make it go from good to great. And you're a part of that. So we would love you to participate in this either as volunteers or if the library board wanted to be so generous with that initial influx of money I heard about earlier. We would not turn that down. Anyway, so thank you very much for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm open now to answer anything. Otherwise, we can move on however you feel. Yeah.
Who are some of the authors you're inviting?
We have actually previous authors who have come to author events here in the past. So we have actually 2 authors on staff. We have, sorry, I just heard from him. Anybody know Jane Bigelow? She used to work here. She's also, it was like over a decade ago.
Yes, I'm old.
She's also an author. We have 5 authors in total. I can get the full list to you right now. But like I said, we're just now sending them out. I'm personalizing each invitation to make sure that they, feel loved by us. And so, but I'm happy to get you that list if you'd like. Yeah. And I can give you the whole list.
Did Stephen King confirm?
Yes, he did. We have some pretty stellar authors in Colorado. And I've gotten some really great recommendations from staff here. And some have even come into the library and said, we would love to partner with you. And they've actually signed books that are on our shelves and everything. So I think it'll be a pretty good event. Like I said, we have 5 who have already RSVP'd. So that's a plus. That gives you extra.
Is the 5K goal, is that inclusive of all the needs, including the honoraria, or?
Basically anything that goes toward that. So honoraria run anywhere between about, I believe I read recently, it was $500 to $1,500 and we had one author who wanted a strange amount of money for like 45 minutes. It was like $800. And I'm like, a little out of our budget. But she does a lot of like the school talks and stuff like that. So her audience is a little different. So I'm still reaching out to her to see if maybe, since it's a different type of event, maybe we'd be able to still give her something. one of the benefits is that because we're promoting Colorado authors and specifically more Denver metro authors, is that we don't have to pay excessive amounts for honoraria because we're not paying for hotels or flights or anything like that. We're really just paying for their time.
Yeah.
So that's one of the benefits of it not being like a national event.
Gotcha.
Anything else?
Two quick questions. One, how can we support you by reaching out to like potential donors we know?
Oh, yeah. I can go ahead. I sent a letter, I believe,
Yeah.
to you.
I
Yes,
can Debbie did forward that to everyone.
Yeah.
So we're okay to send that out?
absolutely, absolutely.
That sponsorship link.
No.
The sponsorship package link.
Yeah.
I did not include the link because it wasn't out at the time that I
Oh,
sent it
wasn't.
out.
Would you
Yes,
say that then I'll-
Okay, that would be great. That would be wonderful. Yeah, I've had people mention that before. And it doesn't have to be financial. They could they could offer their time or they could offer in-kind donations, just like El Dorado Springs. So if you know of any restaurant owners who want to go ahead and pay for the lunch, I think I priced it out at about $400 to $500 in order to pay for 25 people if we went with like Qdoba or something like that. So, it's not a huge amount of money. So if you know of anybody, also, if you know of any authors, I've gotten so many people coming up to me saying, I know this person, I know that person. So, and if we get enough money, we might even be able to go ahead and get a keynote speaker, which would be nice.
Oh.
Someone to kind of kick off the event.
Stephen King, right?
Right. You don't have to listen to me, they can actually listen to Stephen King.
And then if we wanted to sponsor as individuals, just reach out to you.
Yes, and also that means that I would put you in touch with, Tony Arnaldi, who deals with all the package stuff. Also, we will be working with procurement and the city in making sure that as either individual donors or as entities out there who are donating money to the event, that there will be, an understanding, a contractual understanding about what's allowed and what's not allowed, that we can use their logo, that kind of stuff. If they want to back out of it, what's that all entail, that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I've got kind of a question, maybe this is for you, but like, and this sounds great. I've never participated in something like this. I look forward to volunteering or whatever.
Cool.
Is this something where the other city events would happen on the same day or in conjunction? Is this most successful as a standalone event or pairing it with the Touch-A Truck or something else? Would that draw more people to this or partnering with the Littleton Library? I don't really know how that stuff works, but just thinking about something like this and the way to maximize attendance. Do you know or?
Well, I'd have to go look at
City
our
events.
event list to see what's happening on June 8th, but ultimately, I don't think this is a competition to any of the events. It's very unique. I've done authors luncheons that were high dollar, that brought in some big name authors. And they were standalones and they were very successful. So
Yes,
Um,
yeah, that's the
yeah.
stuff that I don't know
I
about. So
think it
just
comes
kind of
down to the
curious.
marketing too,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
we had experience with a low turnout event booth situation.
mhm.
And if I'm
Yeah,
reading,
Yeah,
about,
just
we
kind of-
don't want that to happen.
No.
right, yeah.
That's where I think this is what we're doing, the marketing piece to get people to actually come to this event. This isn't going to be a 5,000 person event. It's probably going to be 250 or less, with the 25 authors plus some attendees. But it'd be something we'd grow. So
Yeah.
that's where we look closer at not backing up to other events or
Yeah.
other things going
Yeah.
on.
It may be a good time to also consider, I don't want to throw out any calendars, but a book sale too. Essentially, I don't know that.
I would just mention that coming up.
Perfect, but if that's
Yeah.
too much calamity, please tell me to shut my mouth and I will just sit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys thought about potential radio advertisers
Oh, that's a good
that
question.
potentially sponsor?
That would be amazing. If you have any contacts along those lines, that would be great. If you do, I would totally be up for that. Yeah, marketing it is gonna be a big part of it, and we're gonna be pairing with the communications department here to make sure that we get the word out. You can do it on the cheap through social media, but we also want it to be in like all of the publications that we're putting out there, signage in the various locations like the Malley Center, the rec center, and through radio would be great. Also, I've been speaking with a representative from Inglewood Schools. They can't provide any financial support, but actually providing support through advertising through their various venom processes. You know, right before school ends, they usually send out all kinds of things to parents and teachers and students about how you can make sure that your kid doesn't have that sort of like summer slide. And what a great way to do this by encouraging them to come to the library and sign up for summer reading. And those kind of things can be pushed easily to those families. But thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna meet up with you after this. Is that cool? Okay.
I know that mostly, well, maybe I don't. This will be children's and adult summer.
All ages. Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna cut you. Sorry.
No.
Cut off.
Yeah. Great. So like you're looking at children's authors as well as.
We're looking at children's,
Okay.
teens, nonfiction, fiction, the gamut, just because we want to be able to reach out to everybody.
Yeah.
And, you know, what a great way to do that.
I love it.
Yeah. Right.
I did the old writer workshop that they used to do here, which was really popular. And
Yes.
like people signed up for it, like there was a waiting list at some point, I think,
Yeah.
so.
Maybe I don't think most of the board probably even knows about the writers.
Yeah, like there, it was some, well, it was more focused on writing, but it had authors that would come and do presentations, and you could sign up for different. It was like a 3-day thing that they did every year for a while.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that there's like old material, I don't know how they advertised it, but it was pretty popular, so.
I think, no, there's a one.
It was
It
was really valuable.
Yeah.
Have to jump.
Yeah.
I don't know if the investment site is current, I think it is, but there is a summer market on the 22 circle.
Oh,
Which isn't a bad
perfect.
thing.
Oh, that's right. Yes. That's perfect.
That's actually what I was kind of inquiring about, because I wonder if that would bring other people in,
It could.
you know, to
Right.
be
Well, I mean,
smart, I think.
brainstorming all these ideas, we talked about like, what about a food truck? What about, you know,
Yeah.
having other kinds of events? What if we like bled out into the circle area and everything? But like as a reintroduction into author events that's kind of faded away. We kind of wanted to start small, although it may not seem small. This is, for something like this, relatively small, especially given the budget we're looking at. So it's just the beginning,
So
essentially.
given that, you need to make sure that you're putting good signage up to get into the
Yes.
library from the circle.
That's what,
Because
yeah.
Let's dress up in Miss Kimberly's stuff and walk around.
borrow Miss Kimberly's closet.
Oh, that's
God, yeah.
Would we consider opening this door over here on days when there are like joint events, or you think it would just be too confusing to patrons?
Kind of a can of worms. I think we're a little nervous because what we've done, it's worked very well and people
Yeah.
have adapted. And if we open those doors, then the expectation may be.
Yeah,
The other thing is that now exterior doors will be locked on the weekends. And I think even when there's a market, they'll probably still be locked. Because there's nothing to access from that lobby. You can't go upstairs on a Saturday. There's no services upstairs on the second or third floor, so. it
Yeah, so we'll do
probably-
signage. to
Yeah,
get
lots
people
of
in.
signage,
Yeah.
yes.
But the facilities department is.
Just, you know,
keep
put,
going,
like,
keep going.
round the way.
You're almost there.
The facilities department is ordering some like kind of more permanent signage for those doors that say to go around the
Okay.
library. We had some like paper ones up there for a long while, but they
Yeah.
finally kicked the bucket. And facilities was like, we're gonna order something
Okay.
like professionally does that will be lasting, and that will be up too.
I always see people tracing through the trees over there because they don't know we come this way, so that way we're that way.
Does anyone else have questions for Lee? I would like to talk about like helping fund this. Okay, helping fund you. Giving sponsors.
The other comment I was gonna make is,
Yeah.
because the Chamber of Commerce as well. Okay, let me see what I can do for you on this.
Yeah.
Okay. I can help you.
Yeah.
I can help you with that.
Yeah. When we get the updated email, everyone reach out to who you have. I'll send it.
Okay, great.
We'll get, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. So we have money.
Or did
Thoughts on
you
where
say
you
there
live?
was 3,000 left?
We have 3,000.
Why didn't you use that?
Yeah, yes. So historically, we have donated some of that to staff at the end of the year. We like to sponsor conferences or whatever.
Right.
In my mind, we usually give some to the summer reading program, but this is the ask for summer reading. From what am I understanding? Or do you
There
think
may be a separate ask for children's.
Okay, okay.
How much, cause all the money from the book sale is going to summer reading, how much was that? Again, do you remember the top of your head?
It's like, I don't know where it's at right now, but like from the actual book sale, it was like 3,400, but we've been. With the book sale we have in the library, we continue to sell books ongoing. I'm not really sure where the balance is at this moment. And that money is to support, prizes, program supplies and things like that for the summer reading program.
Beth, are there conferences that you and your team want to attend this year? I know that, you and your teammates
Yeah.
attended some
There
last year.
will be. I
Was
mean,
there-
we have some folks going in March to the Public Library Association Conference. The annual American Library Association Conference will be in June or July. There is the Colorado Association of Libraries Conference in September. That one's out of town. I mean, it's still obviously in Colorado,
Yeah.
but it's requires an overnight stay. So if we have a couple people that want to go to that, there will be costs incurred for that. So,
For the author thing, if you wanted to hold it on June 8th, what would be like a reasonable, go, no-go date, but you would have to have the funding in place to say this will definitely move forward. I mean,
so like,
I'm curious, like, if we donated some now, and then in like,
Adjustments on.
We just. Be getting something and not like a number yet, like it feels like we have a lot of time, unless there is a financial pressing, like we need this amount of money in order to make it actually happen kind of a thing.
I would think at least by the end of March, we'd want to, have a secure understanding of the dollar amount we have access to. Because some things we're gonna need to like pay for in advance or things like that. And that would give us at least a 2-month lead time, knowing we have this dollar amount.
I also think that having, first of all, we're the board of our library, our name needs to be on that list, and our name needs to be on that list sooner than later. Like, I think that looking at that list, which is not there anymore, but like, you saw organizations, like,
hirings.
right, like, our name needs to be on there. Personally, I think that I would feel comfortable with doing $500 right now and, seeing where things go, but I'm open to whatever.
Are you talking about that's left over or $500?
No, giving $500 right now to support of this event. So we have 3,000 in our budget.
Okay, so from
Today, we would give
From those-
$500 to.
All.
Yeah, right?
Investing funds.
It used to be,
Oh,
we used to have to like pull things to spend money on, so you
there were
turned
so
that
many
around.
years, like, it sounded like we were buying 3,000 fidget spinners. It was
Yeah, I agree. I think the $500 or $250 now and see what we can go collect from the community. I agree, having our name on it, and then being willing to make up a shortfall if there's a shortfall closer to the date makes sense. But I still want us to encourage potentially being an individual sponsor, like I'm definitely going to be a sponsor myself, but also really thinking about the businesses and if you have corporate contacts or have access to sort of philanthropy dollars in your workplace, to bring this forward in those meetings as well.
If we do have, like, if I would love to talk to my company's philanthropy department, see if they're doing anything, who should we reach out to? If the,
I would send the link, right?
yours is-
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
If
They're
they're
like
go through the sponsorship package,
Yeah.
thing, it doesn't necessarily like alert me of what what's coming our way.
Okay.
But I'm sure until there.
Is your contact info is all in the sponsorship?
Yes, yes. Is it? No, wait a minute. In the sponsorship package, I don't think so because it's through the city.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but in this
email,
Email.
agenda packet where Lee's email is here on the back side of it, her email is in there if you had questions.
Yeah.
And you can always reach out to me, Debbie or Christina.
And just to let you all know, the RSVP deadline for the authors is March 1st.
Okay.
So that should kind of give you all an idea at that time, how many authors have RSVP'd and if any of them need some sort of remuneration
Yeah.
for their attendance.
Outside of the author festival, I know we were kind of thinking of ideas of other ways to use that funding. Is there, just to ask the inverse of that, are there things you would ask us to deprioritize with funding or things maybe that are lower on your list so that we know not to promote those or?
I don't think so. I mean, I can't remember what, oh, like last year, I think I did ask for some funding for supporting the art exhibits. We're probably not gonna keep that this year. I don't know that it was actually as necessary as I thought it might be, because I didn't even use all the money that was allocated for that, so. I don't anticipate that coming up again as an ask, so I think the things that we'll probably prioritize are this event. Some additional support for summer reading, and then, potentially, like professional development for the staff, and then like something. I don't know if we did like a.
And we normally do trunk or treat too.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was the other one. Money. So.
I'm fine making a motion to, put forth the ask to the board to do $500 from our funds to support the program.
Or second.
A second. Write Dina's name down.
All
Under the voice.
Happy to swear the crown.
all those in favor of sponsoring the Inglewood Author Festival at the gold level of $500. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, wonderful. All right. Thank you, Lee. Let's move on to new business, or continue with new business, to close date.
So the close dates for 2024, this list includes, city, holidays, as well as, so New Year's, well, and Martin, they already happened, so those, obviously we were closed. And then, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving holiday, and Christmas holiday, those are city decided upon holidays. I don't, and New Year's Eve. And then, the library would like to add Sunday, March 31st, which is Easter, as a closed day. This will not be a paid holiday for any full-time staff that work on Sundays, but we would just be closed that day. It's my understanding that the Malley Center is never open on Sunday, but ERC would be closed on Sunday that day too. As an unpaid holiday. And then to provide some additional time for staff to focus on working on a strategic plan, we would like to propose 5 staff in-service days, March 8th, May 10th, July 12th, September 13th, November 8th, and then November would be the last one. So there'd be 5 of them and be every other month, beginning in March, basically, to provide us a day to have either the full library team or just specific team members working on, the activities for moving the strategic plan forward.
So September 13th is an England Schools Day off. Is there flexibility on that date? No, we looked at that last year with them as well.
I think, and that's part of the reason, I think these dates are the second Friday. Because the first Friday, like, Labor Day is gonna be September 2nd, so I don't wanna be closed on Monday and Friday the same.
Right. Do question back. I'm just thinking like, there's no school, might have an influx of families that want to come in.
I mean, I guess we could make it the 20th. Storytime in the park goes through the end of September, so Storytime doesn't actually happen in the library in September on Fridays. So when we've had closed days during the summer month, Kimberly still does Storytime in the park. Okay, so I don't know, but I mean, I'd be happy to move that to the 20th for that month. And I think that's what I was trying to look at that, so we weren't having multiple days off in the same week.
How many staff and service days did you have last year?
We actually only ended up having technically 3 because we were closed for the contamination during what would have been the first one.
Seems so far out.
Besides that one change, this all feels very reasonable.
Oh, and then I did put at the bottom, that would be 18 total closed days.
The library will close in 30 minutes. The public computers will shut down in 20 minutes. The restrooms will close in 15 minutes. Thank you.
That was great. That was great.
That was fun. It's funny.
Anyone else? You approve that?
I'll move to approve the closed days for the England Library for 2024.
All those in favor? Any of those? All right. It's okay. All right. Review draft of the library action plan.
So this is still considered a draft because the library supervisors actually just met yesterday to go over it. We've actually already created some edits to the document, but also wanted to provide an opportunity for the library board to ask questions or provide suggestions regarding the action plan before it is finalized. So this is not, there's not an ask for approval for this tonight. That will be presented next month in the final draft. So a lot of this was kind of overviewed in the earlier presentation, but it's a little bit more detailed. It's kind of broken down by the teams. We didn't have the technical services team included in this document because it felt more kind of like a behind the scenes staff focused goals, rather than something that we're doing hourly for the public. So the plan will include items for adult services, the children and teen services, circulation and patron experience, and then overall library operations. So for adult services, establish partnerships with Match, which should just say Malley Senior Center. And that would include collaborating with Malley on programs aimed at senior populations, reestablish the Malley Senior Center Book Club, coordinate with the center staff and the IT department to create a pickup point for library hold requests. Expand homebound delivery program by increasing enrolled patrons by 25%. And then scheduling additional tech assist programs. We currently offer those only in the library, but we'd like to offer them in senior living facilities and at Malley on a regular basis. Increase off-site program offerings. Folks at the Bar is a great example of an off-site program. So collaborate with local businesses or restaurants to host specialized events and potentially present programs at the Englewood Rec Center. Establish new partnerships with community agencies. maintain and strengthen the partnerships with Change the Trend, Arapahoe County Housing Navigators and HAP Force, and then develop a new partnership between the library and Cafe 180, Movement 5280, and Bridge House. Bridge House is the kind of integration services that's currently being put into place that the city participates in through the Tri-City Homelessness Initiative. So that's not fully set up yet, but it's on track to open, I think, in the spring. That's my understanding. So
I'm not sure about that. What's movement 5280?
Movement 5280 is a nonprofit organization that supports people experiencing homelessness and in transition and things like that. Help with food and that kind of stuff.
Is Captain 180, are they going to like a takeout level or something like that?
I don't have a lot of details on that since Quinn's not in here. I don't really want to say too much incorrectly, but they have moved away from the model that they had, and they're looking at revising what they're going to be offering to the community. And we think it's a good opportunity for us to be involved with them as they're kind of reevaluating how they're going to participate in the community and certain community needs with regard to food. So
They laid out their goal on their social media Instagram,
Oh,
if you want to look at it.
Okay.
Like what they're offering, what's changing, all that kind of stuff.
thank you.
It's on their website?
I'm sure it's on their website, yeah, and it's also on their social media.
And then Children and Teen Services, striving to provide services and support for the homeschool community. And that will look like information sessions for the homeschool families, outlining the resources available from the library and to gain insight on what their needs are. On a quarterly basis, host a homeschool meetup to showcase the library space and services. Increase outreach to local schools and other youth serving organizations. Would like to see a 10% increase in outreach programs to Englewood Public Schools and local preschools. And then establish connection with 2 new schools and or youth serving organizations. So these might be private schools or other specialty schools or daycares or something like that. Establish partnerships with early childhood agencies. Establish connection with at least 2 organizations that provide early childhood education support. Utilize new partnerships to provide quarterly seminars for families with young children. Plan and present programs for older teens and new adults. And this would be a collaboration with adult services to present life skill programs, including job readiness, post-high school readiness, financial literacy, cooking, etc. And then expand the non-traditional collection options for youth. And so this would be refreshing the storytime bins and getting those added into the Library of Things. And then creating some additional resources that would be added to the Library of Things. Circulation and patron experience will focus on completing a comprehensive circulation training and operations manual, creating an updated training checklist for new staff regarding circulation procedures, and a manual of tasks and responsibilities for all the staff members on that team. They'll grow the non-traditional collection by adding new concepts to the Library of Things, and this would include researching other useful items such as tools or cookware, expand the selection of book club kits. I think actually 5 new book club kits for this year have already been ordered. And then expanding the board games, and then creating a plan to budget for 2025, the Library of Things, because this did not get in, we did not get approved for including funding to support the Library of Things in the 2024 budget. So we're going to kind of reapproach how we pitch that budget line for 2025. And then plan and coordinate a campaign to increase library card holders and library usage. We'll collaborate with other city departments. Attend 4 new events where library card registration can be offered. So this is this would be things in addition to kind of what we've already been doing, like Celebrate Englewood, the block party. I can't think of them. There's a couple other ones I forget. What else did we go to? Yeah, like, and so like, in addition to things we've done in the past, we want to try to add 4 new things. And those may be city-sponsored events or something else.
Okay.
Increase resident library, increase all library card holders by 25%. increase resident library card holders by 15%, and create new approaches for promoting library card registration. That last item can be taken off because that is something else. So we're actually we're not including that providing training opportunities. And then library operations, focus on creating a 3 to 5 year strategic plan, enlist a professional consultant to facilitate strategic planning process, include a comprehensive community assessment. Create a comprehensive library employee manual, so we will formally report processes and procedures specific to library operations. Formally record training checklists for all library teams, supervisory roles, and library manager. And formally record job performance expectations in addition to those outlined in the city's administrative policy manual. And then, oh no, there's another, okay. Where can I begin? Create knowledge base of library operations and city procedures. Compile an overview of each library team's purpose, responsibilities, and tasks. Create an outline of city procedures regarding budget, finance, personnel, facilities, and IT maintenance, and vendor contracts. Establish a partnership with local agency for social work services. This will be a collaboration with All Health Network to provide social work services within the library. And then the last would be secure alternate funding through grants, book sales, and donations. So the plan would be to hold actually 2 book sales events this year, one in the spring and one in the fall. So like probably the same kind of time frame we did the first one, but then another one maybe in like March or April. And then we'd like to coordinate at least one donation drive or some type of fundraising event. Research grant opportunities to fund special events and programs. Collaborate with community members to create a friendly library. So this is sort of, and this is kind of like really an outline for deeper things that we would like to explore in the strategic planning process. So that we have things that are not just like, here's a single effort we're gonna make in this 1 year. How do we build on it and have a plan for the next 2 years afterwards? And so that's what the strategic plan will build upon. So this is almost like kind of an outline of how we would want to expand from these items in a bigger multi-year plan.
I know we've talked about the library of things lots of times, but is that data in our so report, and or would you add that?
Like it's in there, so it's already, the physical items are included in the physical checkouts.
Right.
And then I have the separate line for the culture passage.
Yeah.
We can do it all separately, and in fact, Hannah's actually going to do a presentation on all the library of things stuff next month to just highlight the recap of last year.
Okay.
But that is something that we can want them pulled out. Like, I probably won't, I'm not gonna adjust the total checkouts.
No.
But we can have it separate as this is how many were these.
Yeah, like even if it's not just, or even if it's library of things checkouts, like
Oh, I see what you're saying.
combined, because for me, we're not seeing, like, I don't see that these are being used, and yet you're putting so much time into it and wanting more budget for it, and that's not visible here.
Okay.
I trust you that they're being used, but to have that data.
Well, we have that extra line in the statistical report that says culture pass.
Yeah.
We can just change that to library of things and then put a total, because that would include culture pass, book club kids, board games, and then as we add the other things in.
What does everyone else, like, are you good with grouping, or would you rather? I don't know.
If it's not too hard to.
I mean, I could also put it in this spreadsheet as a total and have the information kind of on the side.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That would inform your budget also. Which, I know you said, but
Is there any ways we could get the dates for the book sales? No.
I don't have the dates nailed down just yet. I'm just thinking spring and fall so far.
it was that same September Friday. It was that weekend, that's why I had the leave movie.
Oh,
It was that 13th
okay.
weekend, if you do it around then.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Aren't these involved in starting a claims period? like retirees.
So you need to get a 501c3
Yeah.
license because you can't take any grants, without it. So, so
We have designated people to serve as the officers
Of the
for
board,
it. So
yeah.
you need to have at least 3 to 4 people to be the officers that would function as the Friends of the Library board.
Yep.
And then they would be in charge of like managing whatever funds come in, so they'd have to have a bank account and all that stuff.
it's a
We
significant
use
list.
that,
It,
yeah.
it's a lift. Do I think we should absolutely pursue it 100%? Because we have folks that are sitting corporations that can't give money, and they give money because you sit on a board, right? Like, and that's just part of your contribution of sitting on a board. It's like $2,500. And like, we can't take that right now. Like, there's no vessel for them to give. So I've already spoken to a lawyer who's willing to do it. I think we just have to flush out what it looks like in conjunction. with what you need.
Close in 15 minutes. Please bring your items to circulation for checkout at this time. The public restrooms are now closed for the evening. Public computers will shut down in 5 minutes, so please save or print your work now.
But I think maybe at the next meeting or the next couple meetings, let's talk about sort of forming a smaller working group to sort of start the process, because it's 6 months out to even file your.
And you
your
have to create, like I said, a bylaw,
Yep.
everything that like creates the organization and like says how it's going to function. So
I know Venus has a really active one. Does the Rathole district have friends?
I believe.
Most of them do. I mean, Denver's gives like $400,000 to give to the library.
Yeah.
So
What?
they give about $400,000 to the library every year. They're
In
friends group.
donations?
Yep.
Does the city give them any money?
I mean, the city funds the library, but traditionally these are used for sort of all the other expenses that, new computers, because then, Dell could donate computers through their corporate giving or through the foundation. There's a lot of different ways to structure it.
The benefit of the 501, like it being a 501c3 is it can take grant money.
Yeah.
Or we can't, there's a lot of grants we miss out on
Okay.
because the city, while it's a nonprofit, is not categorized as one that can receive these specific types of grants. So we can't take any, can't even apply for any of that type of grant funding until we have a vehicle, right?
So is this, I support this, but I think this would be a great project for us as a board to take on to maybe alleviate some of the other things that your staff is wanting to do. If we can take that on.
Well, and
on
that's
your
it.
behalf.
Staff members can't be a part of a Friends of the Board, Friends of the Library meeting.
Yeah.
Group. We wouldn't be able to we would like work with that group, but we can't be on it.
Yeah.
Part of it.
So I think that would be a great thing for us as a board to contribute a few hours for us to.
Least start the process, but I think. Talk about it for my full term. I'm like, let's do this, and then the things happen. But yeah, no, I definitely think it's worth pursuing to alleviate some of the budgetary pressures that all the municipalities in the metro area are going through right now.
You can talk out from open meeting slot.
Yep.
Sure. But you mentioned including employee retention, would that be part of the strategic plan or part of this plan?
Probably a bit of both.
Pretty sure I could.
I didn't really put it, didn't really become part of the strategic or the action plan because we're kind of at a point where right now we're currently just closed a recruitment for a part-time position. We're going to have one more part-time children's position, and then we'll be fully staffed for like a half a second. And then we'll have another part-time opening, but for the most part, like I really just want to focus on, because one of the things that I think makes it possible to keep the people we already have is to create a stronger workplace for them. And that really comes through by having things written down, things people can reference to say, how do we do that? What's the process for that? Because there's nothing written down in this library that has stuck, or there's like 5 different versions of it. And so we're really trying to create a like master plan of like, this is how we do things. And then we use the same information to teach anybody new And then really kind of create some experts within the different teams for completing those tasks. Because everybody's kind of all over the place right now. So I feel like we will be able to improve our retention by providing more structure and stability to their work roles. And then I think we've already gone a long way to creating a better kind of hierarchy of positions within the library just in the last 2 years by having 2 librarian positions. And now we have 3 full-time associate positions. So we have a much more clear kind of, path for advancement within this public library. Because before it was like you were a part-time associate or you were a supervisor. And there was nothing in between. We finally have some in between opportunities for people to gain better experience and like lead projects and lead teams and get that experience for being supervisors. I think that was really lacking. So again, this is not anything we need, but so if there's any other questions or suggestions about what's included, there'll be a couple tweaks to it, and then next month we'll present it as just like a final draft. Okay.
Right? Anything else? All right, let's move on to staff's choice.
I don't have anything, but I'll let Chelsea cover the council retreat.
Yeah. So if I look at the map on January 27th, the city council and the new council, we have 2 new members, will be meeting for our annual strategic planning retreat, where we reopen that strategic plan that referenced earlier, you can find on the city's website, and ensure that we're taking all of the citizen feedback and that the plan is going to cover basically the work of the council, the vision the council would like to set for staff next to the next 2 years of the council's term. So the agenda for that is going out next week. And so if folks are interested in that, it will be at the Burlington Golf Course, live stream, but all our games if you want to follow along.
It's actually not going to be live streamed, but it is being recorded and will be posted.
Yeah. And you have any specific things that you'd like to see changed or different in strategic planning, there's going to be some shifts and focus, certain things also like you've accomplished. And so I think getting off the board is really great to see. Please feel free to reach out to me on the city council because we're always back and it'll be one of our vacation settings here.
We can just move to board members' choice. Did you have anything else from the? No, okay. Anything from the school?
Nothing from the schools right now.
All right,
Then the new board member potentially coming up. That's about it.
great. Any other board members' choice items?
If you check out 30 hours with my name, it's. My library card is like so.
Can't carry the weight of the whole city. All right, anyone else? Okay, it is 7:23. We will adjourn. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.